investor, Dora the Realtor here, and in today's video I'll be telling you about deeds and everything you need to know about it. So first of all, what is a deed? I know you must have been hearing deeds in property, in land and houses and the rest of them. Do you know what a deed is? Now, a deed is a legal document that transfers interest, title, or ownership from one individual to another. This serves the legal purpose of binding both parties involved in a transaction to a specific obligation. Now let's look at common types of deeds. We have the deed of assignment, the deed of transfer, the deed of conveyance, the deed of lease, the deed of sublease, deed of release, deed of mortgage, deed of partition, deed of confirmation, and deed of sharing. Now, when is a deed mandatory in property transaction? A deed is mandatory in property transaction if the transaction, a lease, is going for above 3 years, if you are transferring documents, that is ownership or title, from one party to another. Now, a deed is also needed in a property transaction when you are rectifying another deed, that is an already existing deed. If a third party is appointed by an actual owner of a property to act on his behalf or execute on his behalf, a deed is mandatory to be able to prove the power on which he is acting upon. So for a power of attorney to go on behalf of maybe selling a property, he needs, or he or she needs, a deed to be able to do the execution. Now let me give you the key components that makes up a valid and an enforceable deed in a real estate transaction. A deed must contain the particulars of the both parties, that is the legal name and status, the signatures and the addresses. They all have to be in the deed document. Second one is the particulars of the witnesses, just like the both parties, their names, their signatures and their addresses, for the witnesses, they have to be in the deed. Number 3 is the description and the location of the property, which means that the deed has to clearly have, identify the location and fully describe, the full information of the property. It should also contain the history of the title, that is the history of the property, the current owner of the property, how did he or she acquire it, like how did it come about, just the general history of the property. It has to be included in the deed. The deed document has to contain the consideration of the transaction. Now, this might not always be money. It could be gifts, it could be act of service, it could be an exchange, any exchange that is worthy of that particular transaction, just anything, whatever, whether it's money or not, just whatever that is made in exchange for that particular property, it has to be included in the deed document of that transaction. Now, the deed document must also contain the quantum of interest that is transferred. So what this means is whatever plot size or property size, let's say is land now, whatever size of land, portion of land that is being transacted in that deal, it has to be clearly stated in the deed. If it's a 1,000 square meter plot size, if it's a 500 square meter plot size, if it's a 200 or 300, just whatever plot size has to be clearly stated in the deed. And lastly, the capacity of the party giving interest also, it requires that a minor, that is anybody below the age of 18, cannot make a legal execution of a deed. So whoever that is making any transaction that consists or that you need a deed document for has to be 18 years and above and has the authority to make such transaction or such execution. Now, having said all of this, I believe we should be able to identify a deed document in any real estate transaction when you come across it. My name remains Dora the Realtor, bringing you all the smart tips and guides for the best real estate opportunities right here in the city of Abuja. Reach out to me at the number showing on your screen and I will help you with your investment processes. See you next time.